This is the Joby Wavo Pod. It's a USB microphone that works with a bunch of different devices. Joby were kind enough to send me this microphone free of charge, but this video is not sponsored. In the box, you get the microphone, a stand, which the microphone comes pre-attached to, a pop filter, and two USB cables. One USB-C to USB-A and one USB-C to USB-C cable. It's also worth mentioning that the USB cables are decently long, being around 2 meters each. You also get a 3/8 to 5/8 adapter. Right out of the box, you can set the Wavo Pod up in a matter of seconds. Plug in one end of the USB to the bottom of the microphone and plug the other end into a computer or tablet and you are good to go. Sadly, there's no phone support however, as the phone is just not powerful enough to run this microphone. At least not in my testing using the iPhone 12 mini. When it comes to setup, there's no need to download an app regardless of the device you're using. And as I just mentioned, there's no need to power the mic separately because it will take the power from whatever device you have it plugged into. If you're on a Mac for instance, you just need to go into the settings and select the mic from the list. Here you can see I have the iMac's internal mic, I have a couple of bits for Rode Connect, and then you can see the Wavo Pod there. If you're using say an iPad Pro, you just need to plug it in and it will act just like the built-in microphone. The Wavo Pod is made predominantly from plastic with just a few metal touches, like the microphone grill and the grill on the pop filter, as well as the heavy base on the stand that's also made from metal. Build quality is fine, but it doesn't feel quite as robust as something like the Rode NT USB Mini. The stand allows for pretty good adjustment forward and back, and it also puts it in a reasonably good position for recording, unlike some other tabletop stands where they're kind of a little bit low and need to be raised up to get the best quality. There's also an option to take it off the stand completely and mount it to a boom arm, just like I have done here. One unique feature of the Wavo Pod is the included Joby link connectors. There's one on either side and that allows you to attach a bunch of different stuff to it. So for instance, you might want to record a podcast with your mobile phone on one side so you can read a script and a light on the other because you want to film it also. Obviously Joby would like you to buy their flexible mounts, but it's just a standard 1/4-20 so you can use whichever arms or attachments that you want. Joby sticks to its usual red and black colorways for the Wavo Pod, so it's going to be fairly conspicuous if you've got it in the bottom of your frame like I have here. In fact, you may have noticed this microphone popping up in a few other videos. Personally, I think it would be nice if there was an all black option, but I don't think the red looks bad, it's just maybe a little bit distracting. Controls on the microphone are fairly simple, being as there are only two. The first, here at the bottom, is a single button. This allows you to switch between the cardioid and the polar pickup pattern. Right now I have it set to the cardioid pickup pattern, which means it should just be picking up any of the sound in front of the microphone. So if I play this music, into the front of the microphone, it should be fairly clear. If I now move it around the back of the microphone, shouldn't be quite as obvious. If I now switch to the omnidirectional or polar pickup pattern and play the music again, you should get a clearer sound on both sides of the microphone. This means that if you want to do something like a podcast with a guest and you only have one microphone, then you can just stick it in between you and you should be able to pick up both voices. You can even get an additional pop filter to go on the back. The second control is this rotating dial button combo. This one has a few more functions. The first of which is volume control for headphones. On the bottom of the microphone is a 3.5mm headphone jack, which means that you can plug in any wired headphones and listen to your audio and do direct monitoring straight into your headphones from the microphone. Secondly, by pushing in the dial, you will see the light around the dial turn red. This puts you on mute. A second press of the dial will obviously unmute you and the red light will go back to blue, which is usually there to let you know that the microphone is powered on and ready to use. Pretty good if you're using this microphone for Teams, for instance, or you're recording a podcast and you need to cough or sneeze or something like that. It's pretty useful to have a mute button. In fact, that's one of the biggest complaints I hear from people about the Rode NT USB Mini. It doesn't have a physical mute control. You have to do it through software. If you want to know more about that microphone, I will leave the review linked up here and down here. The only problem I have with the mute button, whilst it works perfectly every time, is that there's a very audible click when you use it. This is then picked up on the microphone, which means if you're going to be using it a lot on a podcast, say, then you're going to need to edit those out. Not such a big deal if you're using it for Teams calls, for instance, but if you have to go back in and edit that out in your podcast and you do it a bunch of times, it's going to be really annoying. Let me give you an example. So this is the microphone obviously on. I'll now mute it. Wasn't actually really speaking there, but made it look like I was, didn't I? It's not a total deal breaker, but just something I noticed. That's not all though. There's actually a third function to the controls of this microphone. If you long press the dial, then the light will turn purple, and then you're into gain control. No prizes for guessing. This allows you to control the gain of the microphone. Just by using the dial, you can turn it up or down. I should mention, however, that the dial has no hard stop. This means it will just rotate endlessly. So you're going to need to use your headphones to monitor your audio when you're trying to figure out where you want your gain level. Unfortunately, the light doesn't give you any indication of where you are on the scale. Overall, I think the sound quality of the Wavo Pod is very good. But what do you think? Let me know down in the comments. What does it sound like? When it's in the cardioid pickup pattern, it does a pretty good job of blocking out any background noise that might be behind the microphone. And when in the omnidirectional mode, it does a pretty good job of picking up all the audio around the microphone. Ah, you joker. How long have I been back on that? The audio for this video has been recorded directly into my M1 iMac and is exactly how it came out of the microphone, including a small portion of time there where I left it on the omnidirectional mode. Sorry about that. Overall, I'm impressed with the Wavo Pod, and setup is a doddle, and the fact that they give you 2 USB cables is a major win. I still can't understand in the age of USB-C why the default is always to have a USB-A on one end. I don't have any USB-A devices anymore. Just give me USB-C on both ends and just knock USB-A on the head. If you're looking for something super simple at a reasonable price with decent sound quality, then you can't go too far wrong with the Wavo Pod. Whilst it is missing a few of the software bells and whistles you get on other similarly priced microphones, like the Rode NT USB Mini, that actually makes it a lot simpler to use. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.